Can somebody put up the virtual meeting preamble?
Yes.
Two.
All right. Notwithstanding a provision in the EDA bylaws to the contrary is permitted under Virginia Code Section 2.2-3708.2A3, Albemarle County's Continuity of Government Ordinance and Declaration of Local State of Emergency, and the EDA resolution of April 12th or April 21st, 2020. We're holding this meeting by real-time electronic means with no authority member physically present at a single central location. This is because the pandemic's catastrophic nature makes it impracticable or unsafe to assemble in a single location. All authority members are participating electronically. All authority members will identify themselves and state their general physical location during the roll call, which we will hold next. This meeting is being recorded and will be uploaded to the county's website. The public has real-time audio-visual access to this meeting over Zoom and real-time audio access over telephone, both as provided in the lawfully posted meeting notice. The public is invited to offer live comment during the public comment period. Comments are limited to 3 minutes and must be germane to the matters on today's agenda. All right. So,
Roll call.
roll call.
All right. Director Long,
Present in the city of Charlottesville.
Director Ray,
Here in County of Albemarle.
Director Shreve,
President in Albemarle County.
Director Munson,
Present in beautiful downtown Scottsville.
Director Imhoff,
President in Albemarle County.
and Director McNaughton.
Present, Troy, Virginia.
And Director Matola.
Present here in Crozet.
Let's see, and Supervisor McKeel.
Present, located in still snowy and icy Jack Jewett Magisterial District.
Okay.
All right. All right, Mr. Chair, we have a full house.
Great. All right. So next is matters from the public. Did we have anybody sign up to speak?
Mr. Chair, we had no members sign up to speak.
Okay. And nobody has expressed an interest in speaking. Nobody has their hand raised as far as I could tell. All right. So next matter is approval of the minutes from the meeting on December 14th. Do we have any comments on the meeting or on the minutes, not on the meeting?
Just will note I need to abstain as I was not present.
Okay. All right, any further comments?
None.
All right, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I move we approve the minutes.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
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 All right, the minutes are approved. Financial report. Dave?
So this is a financial report through the end of the calendar year 2021. For the beginning, for the fiscal year 22, which began on July 1st. Expenditures in this period have exceeded revenues by $330,612.50. Bond fees and interest of approximately $32,000, that is $32,624.41, to go with $363,236.91 in incentives, professional service fees, and contributions to other entities. That last item being the largest component of that 363,000 plus 300,000 to Habitat for Humanity and 25,000 to CIC, totaling 325,000 in expenditures to other entities. Now that goes along with pass-through funding of $404,021.39 and a smaller pass-through expenditure of $11,000, so that we end the calendar year 12/31/21 with net revenues of $62,408.89. Added to our net cash at the beginning of the fiscal year on July 1, which was $731,824.27. It leaves us with a net cash position as of 12/31 of $852,413.56.
All right, thank you, Dave.
Sure.
Any questions or comments on the financial report? All right. So annual meeting and the election of officers and adoption of the annual meeting schedule. So I'll hand this off to Richie. I had sent out an email saying I was willing to continue to serve as chair. George says he's willing to continue as the vice chair. Dave, are you willing to continue as the treasurer?
Yes, and I sent an email to that effect. I don't know that it landed in everyone's inbox, but
Oh, I didn't see it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got it.
Sorry.
so yes, I am.
All
And I
right.
support you.
So I won't read the full script because you all get the gist of it. Is so we do have the three officers. We have chair, vice chair, and secretary treasurer. In the past, we have nominated those offices as a slate and voted on them by acclamation, and that's something we can do. I don't know if there's anyone else interested in being nominated, so we can just put it at this point, say we do have a slate, and is there a desire to proceed with nominating the slate as a whole?
There is, so move.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion?
I was looking forward to a little bit of a fight here.
How about
Well, you
how
can
about a big
run if
thank
you'd
you?
like.
Thank you for serving.
Don't put that in
Thank you
the
for
minutes,
serving.
okay.
Okay, I'll nominate Diantha for.
All right, sounds like discussions are closed. And we'll just go ahead with a vote. All those in favor of voting for the slate, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, congratulations. We
All
have
right.
officers for the next year. Thank you all.
Thank you. All right, so on to new business. Director's report. Roger.
Hey, Chairman, if I may, there was also supposed to be an adoption of the schedule.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Do we have, the schedule was sent out. I don't know if we've got a slide with the schedule.
We did.
I'll move approval.
So actually, I will not be present. I'm out of town on the 15th. We can proceed with that date. That's fine. George, as long as George is here.
Yeah, I'll be here short enough.
Okay. All right. Then is there a second on the calendar?
I'm happy to change the date and restate my motion if you'd like to change it.
So this is meeting number 2, Don, to which you
Yeah,
refer?
yeah.
February 15, yeah, okay. I
I
see.
mean,
Yeah. I'm fine with the consistency. I mean, unless you really want to be there, Don, we'll miss you, but I don't see a reason why.
yeah, I know that's the case, but so why don't we just keep it on the 15th and have George preside, and then if there's others that are absent, we can reschedule. How about that?
Great. And I'll just give a heads up that I will not be available in July, just so that ends up being also another date where a lot of people are going, I'm not going to be here, in case you need a quorum. And I think last year we ended up not actually
Yeah.
holding that date, but yeah.
Okay.
And I will just add, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but the Board of Supervisors decided to cancel a meeting in July, just for you all to think about, trying to let people have some vacation time.
So we should join Kat in Nice, is what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in the Wind River Range and I would love to have all of you with me.
Oh, that sounds great. Never been to the Winds. That's it's one of the places I want to go.
Yeah, me
So
neither. That's why it is there. And we have room on the trip. Just saying.
All right.
So I think in the past, it's been workable to adopt the schedule as Director McNaughton suggests. And then if we find out there's not going to be a quorum, we can adjust the calendar as we go.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to just keep the July meeting for now, just so it's on the calendar. If we don't have any, and in case there's anything that needs to be actually done at that meeting, but I think that's a good one to cancel if nothing else is going on. All right, so is there a second to the motion to adopt the calendar? Steve
Second.
seconds the motion. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of adopting the 2022 meeting date, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, so now the calendar has been adopted.
Mr. Long, I'll go ahead and get started if that's okay with the director's report.
That would be great.
Yeah, so before I get into what we will be doing, I just want to contextualize a couple of things. First, what we're going to talk about today is only a small fraction of the work that the Economic Development Office does. But we did think it was important to provide at least a cursory preview of what's coming up in your line of work and your volunteerism and all that you do, so that you can understand how we expect the EDO and the EDA to work together in at least the near future, if not the next 6 to 8 months from now. First of all, I wanted to mention that we would expect there would continue to be COVID prophylactics, particularly when you think about some of the things we have done historically. It includes things like the LIFT grant, microloan programs, safe spaces and places. And since COVID doesn't appear to be going to be eradicated anytime in the near future, we expect the next 6 to 8 months, we're going to continue to have to be flexible and respond to the pandemics and maybe even help businesses survive as we go through different variants. We still would expect this board to opine to the Board of Supervisors. For those of you that may be a little newer, oftentimes the Board of Supervisors would like to know your professional opinions as it relates to economic development projects that may or may not involve the Economic Development Authority. So oftentimes we run particular projects and or customized solutions through this board so that you can then opine to the supervisors. We would expect that to continue in the coming months. You are very aware of the unique opportunities, whether it's working with an individual business or an existing business for customized solutions, whether it's helping them grow their workforce through VRIP, helping them grow their business through Commonwealth Opportunity Funds, or just customized solutions as it relates to performance agreements. We expect that some of those will be coming in the preceding months as well. What will be new for this particular board that maybe was not historically as much involved with will be site readiness work. As you may recall, at the last joint meeting, we received concurrence to proceed with a building reuse grant. Our team expects to bring that back to the board here in the coming months, in the next month or so, for adoption. And then, of course, those along with that will come some expenditures and appropriations that this board would be intimately involved with. So that'll be new work for the Economic Development Authority. Also, by July 1, we plan to and will bring back a process for which partner organizations may apply for particular grants from this authority. As you may recall, last year we had an increase in those and they were coming one at a time. This particular authority suggested that we have a one-time open window so it can be a competitive and fair process and not who comes first, because all ideas seem better in isolation. When they're competitive, it allows for some strategic decision-making. We plan to bring back to you a process for administering grants to our partner agencies. As you know, we just started implementing more bonds to create additional revenue. So we need to adopt or some readoption of some rules and procedures. You'll have those coming to you in the coming months. And then at the last joint meeting, the board affirmed that the EDA could own land. There are many ways that the Economic Development Authority can promote economic development through land ownership. So we may be coming back to this particular board to talk about ways in land ownership or site control, which may help advance the county's mission to accomplish a sustainable economy. So this is what we see as a staff coming to you in the next 3 to 6 to 8 months or so. I say it in those sort of various timeframes because, as you know, COVID and also our general workload, our staff often has to respond to requests for information and or opportunities that presents itself unknowingly. We don't get to pick those. They come from around the world, through the state, through the Central Virginia Partnership. So we kind of give you a generic time frame when we would expect you to be working on these particular ideas. And we say most likely the next 3 to 8 months. So that's what we see in the immediate future. And Don had suggested that we just bring this up as a topic so that everybody was in agreement with what, how we may be working together and what we may be working on. So I'll pause here and entertain any questions or comments.
Roger, can I ask a question now about inventory?
Sure.
You're talking about potential land ownership. And while I realize it's a little bit different, we had all talked a while back about an inventory of land. Where do you all and that work started and then stopped?
No, ma'am, it's still proceeding.
And
It's
that's
just
what
not,
I was wondering. Okay.
yeah. Yes, ma'am. It's not been happening in the public purview per se, but in fact, we met earlier today to go through the first results of the algorithm Kimley Horn used. They're using an algorithm to try to look at all the parcels and see which those are available for redevelopment. The first swipe did not turn out so well. The second swipe at trying to determine which are redevelopable properties is much better. It still needs some additional work. So we're going back, we being community development in our department, to meet with Kimley Horn to refine that. We want to make sure that any information we present to the authority and the board has been scrubbed. So we're still in the process of doing that. We expect that to come back here in a month or two.
Great. That's good. Thank you. I appreciate the information.
And I will just mention that there appears to be 2 different lenses in which we look at these particular properties. One is through the lens of long-term planning, which is a 20-year horizon or so, but economic development needs property available today or in the foreseeable 18 months, and it's a different lens. So that has made it a little more complex than originally thought.
But we'll get information through both lenses.
Yeah, that is correct. You will.
Good. That's good to hear. Okay, thank you.
And yeah, and certainly we expect to at least share that information with this particular authority.
And Roger, the land ownership program that we might envision would go beyond site readiness, correct? We've talked about a lot of other things as well.
100% accurate, Director Shreve. It would be more than just land ownership. Maybe we should have said site control here and it would have been a better description, but you're absolutely correct.
All right, any other questions or comments? Ideas of things people would like to hear about? All right. Next, anything else on your report?
No, sir. Oh, well, yeah, JT added this. I'm sorry. Just as a reminder that the conflict of interest forms are due February 1st. We did get wind that there were some difficulty accessing that. So if you would like us to send that information to a specific email address or forward it to you in some other fashion, simply, if you would, just shoot JT an email and we'll get those forms to you so they can be turned in by February 1st.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Roger, can I?
You think you just blast a group email, JT? Sorry, go ahead, Kat.
I was going to say, I just wanted to thank JT because I got that and I'm on a state board, so I can electronic link. It's really easy to fill out and you sign it electronically and you send it back. But I realized this we actually have to print out, fill out, and drop by the county office building.
Oh, really? didn't
Yeah.
know you could do
I think
that.
you can email it, no?
You
Can you
you can
email it?
email.
You can scan it and email it, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
but it doesn't fill in the way the other conflict of interest forms fill out. At least so far, I've not been able to do that. So just, that's why I was checking in.
Yeah, I hadn't seen the,
I haven't either.
I hadn't gotten.
Yeah,
Or I missed it. I probably missed it, but
I didn't see it either. It's probably, I don't know,
Yeah,
if it
when
was
it comes
junk
from
mail
the
or
clerk's
something.
office, what we'll do is we'll send it to your personal email address as well at the conclusion here, or at least the one we
Okay.
have out file. And if you want us to send it to any other email address, please contact JT and we'll shoot it over to you immediately after this meeting or shortly thereafter.
okay,
My
great.
suspicion is they mailed it, and I don't know. It's not a whole lot of faith and confidence in the postal system.
I've definitely not received a hard copy of it.
True.
Yeah,
That,
yeah,
so
that's
I'm
probably
kind of,
true.
I'm kind of surprised, but that's probably what happened.
I've been getting mail from October recently, so.
Do we still
All
gonna
right.
get fined if we're waiting for it in the mail and don't get it in on time?
I mean, I think you can just find it online and download it if you search for it.
I sent out a link in order to access the form at the council. So that link was in there, so you should be able to find it online. If you don't find it online, please let us know as soon as possible. My understanding is, whether it is signed in PDF by email to the clerk or hand delivered to the clerk, the February 1st deadline is a hard deadline.
Yeah.
So if it's not going to make it, then the directors, or with assistance from us, a request to the state council would have to be made. And that's the only authority that allows you an extension. The clerk can't give you an extension. I can't give you an extension. And I say that because, one, I think it's somewhat, embarrassing not to get them in on time, but two, I think it also comes with a $250 price
$50.
tag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, that's where we're at. So I want to do whatever I can to help you all get them in on time.
Thank you.
Richie, if I could just add for the authority to consider going to that website today, this afternoon, to look for the specific form, a fillable PDF online. There are several different versions that are made available to different types of officers from around the state. And I could see it being really easy to grab the wrong one off the website and fill it out. So if you don't mind, please reach out to me and let me provide you with the specific form that we received from the clerk, just to make sure, because it can be a significant form, and I'd hate for somebody to fill out the wrong one. And
Do you mind maybe just doing it once and just sending a blast to everybody, JT? Is that
Yeah,
okay?
that would be
Will do.
fantastic.
we'll do.
That would be great.
Having done that in the past, I can speak to the hassle of having filled out the wrong form. All right. Thank you. Thank you for that reminder.
Yes.
All right. Lewis and Clark Exploratory Center update. Roger?
Yes, sir. As you probably noticed, Lewis and Clark's been in the media lately. So we thought we would just give you an update on the status of that particular loan and what's happening there. Certainly, we have some new directors who may not be aware. Just a brief history. Lewis and Clark did receive a loan from the county, and it came from the Board of Supervisors. So we're really mostly talking about the Board of Supervisors funding themselves. And there are certain parameters for which repayment are due. And Councilor Delory, I don't have that directly in front of me. Could you speak to the deadline for when that we lose standing with legal standing?
So the loan originated in 2013. There have been two amendments to the loan, and the second one extends it. The performance date was June 30th of 2018. And so that extends the statute of limitations to enforce it through a judicial process to June 30th of 2023, a 5-year statute of limitations.
And so the primary purpose is to make you aware that this authority needs to take action between now and June of 2023 or lose legal standing. And that's all I had to share at this particular juncture, Chair.
Mr. Chair, could I ask Dr. Johnson just a quick question? I mean, I know, we've been in such unusual times, obviously, with the pandemic. Tourist sites are just tanking. There was a lot of federal money came in who kind of try to shore them up. Have we ever had a situation where we've just forgiven a loan altogether? Because I find it really hard to imagine that by 23, the Lewis and Clark Exploratory Center is going to have, be able to swim their way out of this particular debt. Or are there opportunities for them to, set it up for another 10-year period? I just don't know what you all have done in the past.
So I can sort of speak, I'll give you a little more background since I've been on the EDA. So we had several discussions trying to, to answer your first question about forgiving it, I mean, the Board of Supervisors provided the money to us to turn around and make the loan. So ultimately, I think it's the Board of Supervisors' decision about whether they want to forgive it. I mean, I think we obviously may have the legal authority if we chose to do that, but I think it's really the board appropriated the money for that purpose. And I think my view is our obligation is to continue to collect or take reasonable efforts to do it unless we're given direction by the Board of Supervisors that they want it forgiven. If they want to give us that direction, then that's fine. We have had discussions in the past with we've had folks from Lewis and Clark Center come in, talk about what they're doing, talk about what they're planning. If I recall correctly, the last steps was there was going to be a meeting with Rod Gentry and at least one other person. We had sort of deputized a small group to meet with them and try to come up with a plan for them to begin to make some payments on the note. And it was not long after that time that Rod stepped down, the pandemic hit, and that's sort of where we are now. I think my perspective would be either we should get them to come in or we should sort of reconstitute a smaller group to meet with them, talk about it, see what they're able to do, and get some feedback that we can then provide to the board and let the board, decide what they want to do. I don't know whether others who've been around want to share their thoughts or if anybody else has any thoughts on it, but I do think we need to take some steps to figure out what's going on and try to at least come up with a plan to move forward.
I don't have specific thoughts, Don, but I agree with you. They should come in and maybe give us an update, let us ask some questions and get a better sense of exactly where they are in their process and what's likely, what's not likely.
Yep.
I recall when you brought that to
Excuse me. Yeah, Don, I think that's sound advice. If you recall, I was around when they came to us during those months. And what is not entirely clear to me, although I think you've kind of filled us in there, at least in a summary manner, is where they stood when the pandemic hit and when Rod left. And I don't know if he ever got a chance to meet with them, if that small group ever did at that juncture. Perhaps connected to Kat's recommendation or suggestion is that once we do meet with them again, maybe all of that unraveling at that point would suggest a suspension, not elimination, due to the pandemic and due to the inability to carry out those meetings. If we decide anything in that respect right now, but much of it probably should still be contingent on meeting with them and figuring out where they stand.
Does anybody recall what the approximate balance is on the loan?
I think it's still I suspect that it's still at the full, I know no principal has been paid, so it's really just a question of what the accrued interest is on it.
I believe it's just shy of 130,000.
And when they made payments, it was an interest-only payment, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, there's a payment history.
Thank you.
Chairman Long, I'm hearing a consensus for staff to invite the Lewis and Clark Exploratory Center leadership back to a particular meeting in either next month or the month after. So we'll take steps to do that.
Good. I would suggest that maybe we do it, since I'm not going to be here, we do it for the March meeting.
Okay.
And then it might make sense to try to have a discussion with them before that meeting and talk about, at least meet with them. And I'm happy to participate in that, to say, here's what we need to know, so they know what we're looking for when we come to the meeting. And if anybody has any input they want to share with me, I'm happy to sort of put together, but I think it will be helpful for us to say, look, here are the things that we need to know from you when you come in and talk to us.
I'm happy to join that delegation.
Thanks, Kate.
I think we need to limit it right there. Otherwise it becomes a public meeting here
Right.
in the next
Yep.
one.
Right.
So just,
Yeah, just-
okay.
All right. Any other comments on that? Okay. Thank you. So next is Ravenna Medical VRIP Agreement.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I'll be very briefly discussing this. Included in today's meeting packet was a draft performance agreement for a local match to the state's grant to Ravenna Medical. Just hours before our last EDA meeting on December 14th, Ravenna and the state held an announcement at their facility off of Hunter's Way, off 250 East, to announce that they were investing $260,000 into their facility over the next 3 years and creating 18 career ladder jobs. Staff has used our adopted policy to propose matching the state's grant at $900 per job. And so that total grant would be $16,200 over the next 3 years. And just as a reminder to directors on the authority, as the company expands and they bring new employees on, after they've been with the company for 90 days, they're able to submit paperwork to the state that reflects those new hires. And then the state provides funding to offset the training and recruitment costs associated with those new hires. And they inform us at the local level, and we match the number of jobs that are relevant for that particular period. So pictured here is County Executive Jeff Richardson sharing some remarks just after Board Chairman Ned Galloway and Roger and the company CEO provided remarks. On the far left is the former Secretary of Commerce and Trade under former Governor Northam, Brian Ball, who attended the event. And it was outdoors, and I think a lot of the employees from the company attended and really enjoyed the remarks and the camaraderie. And so with that, I'll pause and see if there are any questions.
Tell me where their facility is, JT.
Yeah, it's off of
Hunter's
Hunter's Way on 250 East. So once you go past the interchange on Pantops, there's it's almost like a small industrial park. Yeah.
UPS is located back there, George.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know where it is. Okay, thank you.
There was a former biotech company in that space, and they purchased the building and plan on expanding it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions or comments? All right, is there a motion on the, do we have the resolution title?
I don't have the resolution in a slide,
All right, hold on a
but
second.
I can
Thought I
pull it
had it
up.
here, but I think I closed my,
I've got it right here if you want me to read it.
yeah. I got it now. Thanks, George. So is there a motion on the resolution approving an agreement between the Economic Development Authority of Albemarle County, Virginia and Ravenna Medical, Inc.?
I'll move approval of the resolution.
Is there a second?
Second,
Second.
Second, Steve seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All in favor of the, do we need to, well, I guess let's do a roll call vote. Richie?
All right, vote on the resolution. We'll go with Director Long,
Aye.
Director Ray,
Aye.
Director Shreve,
Aye.
Director Munson,
Aye.
Director Imhoff,
aye.
Director McNaughton,
Aye.
and Director Matola.
Aye.
All right, the resolution is approved. Next on the agenda is unfinished business. So at the last meeting, we voted on the bonds for Westminster Canterbury. I found out last week that my wife, Valerie Long, had done some work for Westminster Canterbury in November and December. She discovered that when she was looking at the board agendas for the Board of Supervisors and saw that we had approved it. So I think technically I don't have a conflict because the amount of work that she did for them doesn't hit the threshold, but in the interest of transparency and I've decided to recuse myself from anything further and make clear that at the time I had no idea she was doing work for them. So when the documents came in to be signed, our vice chair ably stepped forward and signed all of the bond documents for Westminster Canterbury. So I believe we've got everything done on that, but I just wanted to put on the record what happened there. And the Long family will now be reviewing the EDA's proposed agenda to make sure that we collectively don't have conflicts. So anything else? Any other unfinished business?
And Rich, this is the signature that you were tracking down when I was out of town, and I think you ended up getting Roger to sign in my place. Is that right? Or did I sign?
No, those documents were, they were the resolutions that had come out of the meeting. The documents that Director Long speaking to at this point are some official bond documents that McGuire Woods is seeking signatures on.
Sure.
And so, but what I wanted to add was I went back and I reviewed the votes, and the votes were all unanimous, and had Director Long abstained, there still would have been the resolutions would have passed. So.
All right, any other comments? Questions? One thing I was going to add earlier when we were when Roger was sort of giving the update on sort of plans for the year. One of the things that I did pre-pandemic, I guess maybe 2019, is Diantha and I both attended the Virginia Economic Development Authority Conference. And I think it's a good meeting. And I was going to recommend that people attend that. And so I got online while Roger was talking to give everybody the date and discovered that it happened in December of 2021. So I think we kind of missed the window there. But I will encourage people next year. I don't know whether they're going to move it back to May, the May time period again, but maybe we can, if the folks in the Economic Development Office hear about that and they can sort of share it, because I think it's a good meeting, especially for those who haven't been to it, because there's a lot of background on what other people are doing and ideas and things like that. So it's really useful discussion.
Just to add, Don, that I think you're right. I found it very interesting, and I'd be willing and would like to maybe go back to the next one. And I'm sorry we missed the window. Anyway.
Well, I mean, the nice thing about the virtual meetings is it's fairly easy to hit sessions if people want to go. So. All right. Anything else? Roger, JT, Ashley, Doug, Jeff. All right. Hearing none, the next meeting will be February 15th at 4 p.m. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you all. Take care.
Take care, everybody. Be safe.
Thank you all.
Drive carefully with all the ice.
Yeah.
Goodbye, all.
Take care.